Bright Tuty. Every student matters.
Now, moving on to the next sense, that is the tongue, right? So, tongue is something which helps us in tasting, right? Apart from that, tongue is also, although it is not a sense, but it also helps us to talk, right? This is one of the two functions of the tongue. Now, tongues are used to taste food. The sense of smell and taste work closely together. If you cannot smell something, you cannot taste it either. Now, if we talk about, let's say, common cold, which a person suffers, usually during common cold, the sense of smell is compromised, right? And that sense of smell, when it is compromised, it also compromises the taste. During the cold, even if you like something, even if your mother gives you something which you really enjoy, you will not be able to eat it properly, you will not be able to enjoy it properly, because your sense of smell has gone and the taste also diminishes, right? So, sense of smell and sense of taste goes hand in hand, and that is the reason why while we are eating food, we are doing two things. We are smelling the food and we are eating it, right? So, we are tasting and smelling at the same time, and that's how we get the whole taste of something, right? You must have seen when you are drinking something bitter which you don't like. Let's say you are drinking something which is good for your health, but it is not very tasty. What your mother tells you to close your nose and then drink it. You are not drinking from your nose, the taste is going to come in your mouth, but when you close the nose, what is happening is the taste diminishes, right? And that's how we can explain that this sense of smell and sense of taste go hand in hand, right? Taste buds on your tongue contain chemoreceptors that work in a similar fashion to the chemoreceptors in the nasal cavity. Now, we saw that the olfactory cells that were present in the nose were also chemoreceptors. The taste buds that we have on our tongue are also chemoreceptors. So, both of these are chemoreceptors, because the food that we are eating have different kinds of chemicals, right? The starch is also a chemical, the maltose is also a chemical, the fructose, which is sweet, is also a chemical. So, the tongue is able to receive all of that, all of these chemicals, and it is able to perceive the taste. There are 4 different types of taste buds, and each detects different types of taste: sweet, sour, bitter, and salty. So, these are the 4 tastes that we are able to taste, we are able to understand in our food. Now, understand, if you think about chili, so you might wonder where exactly chili comes in all of these. So, chili doesn't come in sweet, sour, bitter or salty. Chili, when you are eating, it actually triggers your pain receptors, right? So, the taste which you think is chili is nothing but the pain receptors in your mouth, right? Many people do not enjoy that, many people do enjoy that in moderation. So, it depends on what you like, but these are the 4 main tastes, and the combination of these tastes actually give you the flavor, right? Now, the little bumps on the tongue are called as papillae. Now, after this session or even during this session, you can pause the video and you can go and look at a mirror, and you will see there are certain small bumps. Just tighten your tongue a little and you will be able to see small bumps on the tongue, and these are what we call as the papillae, and the taste buds lie down in the grooves between each papillae, right? So, these are like these are the 2 papillae and taste bud is over here, right? So, these are the 2 papillae and over here you have the taste bud. Foods contain chemicals, and when something is put into your mouth, the taste buds in the tongue can detect what chemicals are ingested, right? So, whenever you put something in your mouth, obviously when you chew it, these chemicals are released and you are able to taste that what chemical you have put in your mouth. Each taste bud has a pore at one end with microvilli sticking out of the pore and sensory nerve fibers attached to the other end, right? So, microvilli is actually, what happens is, like, microvilli are small finger-like projections. So, let's say this is your taste bud, right? So, this taste bud has a pore, and from this pore there is a microvilli which is sticking up, and this microvilli is actually connected to a It is actually connected to a nerve, right? And over here the taste is perceived, right? Chemicals from food bind to the microvilli, generating a nerve impulse that is carried through the sensory nerve fiber and eventually to the brain. So this is how it functions, that the food binds to the microvilli present in the taste bud, and this at one end is open towards outside where the chemical is there, and on one end there is a nerve fiber which takes this impulse towards the brain, right? So this is how the food that you have tastes. Now tongue is one of the most muscular part of your body, and it has a very good healing capacity. It has a very high healing capacity. Now whenever you, let's say, cut your hand, usually you put Savlon or you put, you know, some kind of antibiotic on it, but when your mouth gets cut or your tongue gets cut, you do not put anything, right? Although you will have a problem for like say 1 or 2 days, but after that you will see that okay, there is healing going on. So the healing capacity of tongue is very high, right? It is highly muscular, helps in speaking, helps in mixing the food with the saliva. So you can see that, you know, how it helps us. Apart from that, tongue also helps us in knowing the temperature and texture of the food, right? How cold or how hot is the food, whether it is crunchy, whether it is not crunchy, whether it is, you know, potato chips are, you know, they need to be crunchy, but if you keep it outside in humidity, they become soggy. So your tongue is able to understand the texture of different foods as well, right? So this is how you know, this is how we get the taste, or we get the sense of taste from the tongue, right?